Wesley Kiptoo believed he could better his life as an NCAA student athlete, but the Kenyan distance runner had very little money, very little recognition, and even fewer options.
My journey coming to United States was a little bit of difficult. I struggled with money over there to get whatever I needed for the application. Another challenge was getting a passport in Kenya. We were running out of time, and we were looking for schools, and towards the end we just had one school in Kansas, Colby Community College.
So Colby Community College it was, but the challenges didn't slow down once Wesley was on campus.
Going into a new place and new environment, sometimes it's a little challenging. The language barrier, it was very, very hard, and I remember I went the whole week without doing the assignments because I couldn't know how to use a computer.
You can imagine, but Kiptoo was determined. He figured out the computer, adjusted to campus, and eventually took off on the track, winning 2 junior college national championships. But he was still far from a household name when Iowa State came calling.
He was very under the radar and hadn't had nearly the accolades that he's had now, but you could tell there was something inside him that he was really passionate about the sport, incredibly driven, and some would say even stubborn in the sense that he was not going to be denied in whatever he did.
I took a visit over here, and I remember when I went back, I told Coach, hey, I like the school and I think I'm going to just commit here, and he was so happy. They had my major, that's the first thing, and then second thing, because the athletics support here was very, very high, they support the runners, also the people in the community. They're very, very nice and supportive, and and even the people around the canvas, they are so nice, and I was this is a good place for me to be.
It really was a great place for Wesley to be. Even though the weather wasn't what he was accustomed to, so many other things were.
That farm strong, blue collar mentality, it's ironic because most people would not make the connection or the parity, but I think the Kenyan athlete comes from a farm background, and agriculture is imperative to their society, and so coming to Iowa and also seeing that transition transfer over, sure it's a little colder, but that hard work mentality is something I think we've done a really good job with, making sure people don't forget who they are and also showing up on Saturdays and when it really counts.
And like Edwin Kurgat before him, Kiptoo showed up when it counted. 7 times a Big 12 champion, 7 times All-American, and perhaps most amazingly, in the middle of COVID, with the indoor track and cross-country teams now overlapping, Kiptoo ran to an NCAA championship in the 5,000 meters, then almost added a cross-country title 3 days later.
Looking back at that, you don't realize how crazy that was until it is over. But the reality is, yes, during the winter, we were training for cross-country here in Iowa, while also having an indoor season where it would go on to win the national title indoors, and then 3 days later come back and get 3rd place at the national championship, which he led for most of the way, and winning that title and come back and get 3rd within 3 days, pretty remarkable, and probably definitely one of the highlights of his Cyclone career.
Being a national champion, I was so happy because I had been working for that for so long. You work hard, but nothing comes easy. You can't just dream and just be sit there and wait for things to happen. You have to just go there and work for it. My parents always taught me, always be disciplined, because no matter what, no matter how good you are, without being disciplined, there's nowhere you're going.
And that defines Wesley Kiptoo, hard-working, taking nothing for granted. It's now led to a professional contract with Hoka, and while shoes are their focus, they might even make room for Wesley's signature gloves, worn outdoors and indoors.
He does say his hands get really cold when he runs. There is a condition out there that you may have that can happen with running or hard exercise. But then sometimes he doesn't wear the gloves, so I also don't know if it's just Wesley being Wesley. Nonetheless, it works for him. He's actually kind of building a brand, I believe. When he announced his Hoka signing, a lot of his fans were calling for Hoka custom gloves that had Wesley signatures on them and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I think maybe psych a lot of people out of the starting line indoors when he's wearing gloves when it's 70 degrees inside a building. So, but yeah, we've embraced it, and yeah, he wears them in practice too. It's not just a game day thing.
Practice, game days, schoolwork, and now fatherhood. It's all handled with the same determination by Wesley Kiptoo. His dream has come true. He's a professional runner and he will leave Iowa State with a diploma. Wesley wishes he could share his success with his father, who passed away shortly after Wesley arrived in the United States. But deep down, he knows.
My father will be like so happy and proud of me. He was always supporting me no matter what, even though we had like a lot of challenges, but he was like, hey Wesley, whatever you need, just let me know and I will support you to my maximum point, and I know you're gonna succeed one day, and I know your running will take you so far, and maybe that was things he had like in his mind, and now like it's always coming true.
It is coming true, and Wesley will make certain that his own children, 20-month-old Natalia and 7-month-old Santos, understand how their dad became who he is.
One thing I will share with them is no matter how hard things get, just stay on top of that and just know like I will succeed.